Hello class, so this is our lecture video on chapter 11, the remedies of rescission and cancellation in the sale of immovables. And we're gonna focus on rescission as the remedy, and we're going to compare the remedies available in a contract of sale and a contract to sell. So you already are familiar with the remedies of rescission available in the law on sales. So there's Article 1191, which is the general rules in the rescission of reciprocal contracts. Then specifically in the law on sales, we have Article 1592 with respect to sale of immovables on installments. Now, a special law was later enacted pertaining to the sale of immovables on installment. And you know that already as the Maceda law. So rescission is likewise a remedy in the Maceda law. And this law applies specifically to sale of residential real property in installment. Then we also have the uh, Condominium Buyers Protection Decree, which is PD 957, which also grants the remedy of rescission for the sale of condominium units in installment. So remember that the nature of rescission is that it is an abrogation of the entire contract. And what we mean by abrogation is that the contract will be treated as having never existed. Okay. So the parties will have to be restored to their status prior to entering into that rescinded contract. So the goal here is to restore the parties to their prior status before they executed the contract. So the contract here will be treated as void from its inception. Okay, it is as if that contract never existed. So in order to apply the legal consequence of rescission of contracts, the law requires substantial breach. Okay, so the parties here must have committed, one of the parties to the contract must have committed a breach of faith that violates the reciprocity between them, pursuant to Article 1191. So if there is failure to comply with an obligation in a reciprocal contract, then the consequence of that is it will be treated as the happening of a resolutory condition. So this resolutory condition which happens, will entitle the injured party either to rescind the contract altogether or demand specific performance. So the basis for entitlement to rescission is always substantive breach. And jurisprudence teaches us that substantive breach must be that kind of breach that is not just casual. And in order to balance the very harsh consequence of rescinding a contract, there is Article 1234, which can be made as a defense when you are when the other party is uh, applying for rescission. So in Article 1234, if the obligor can show that there has been substantial performance in good faith, then that can temper the uh, rescission, the remedy of rescission. Because in that case, the obligor can recover as though there has been strict and complete fulfillment of the contract. Okay, but the injured party can still be granted damages. Okay, and the remedy of rescission under Article 1191, even though it is granted to the injured party, okay, the courts can still limit the exercise of this particular remedy because pursuant to Article 1191, even though there is substantial breach, okay, by the defaulting party, the courts are given the power, okay, to grant a period within which the violator of the contract, okay, can still comply with the obligation. So in cases when there is only negligence, okay, and not intentional uh, design to evade, okay, the normal fulfillment of the obligation, then the court, okay, will not grant the remedy of rescission, but instead give the defaulting party another opportunity to comply with the obligation. Okay, since rescission abrogates the entire contract from its very inception, then we implement that through restitution. So Article 1191 cross-references to Articles 1385 and 1388 of the Civil Code. So you'll find that in the Law on Obligations and Contracts. And these articles are found under the rescissible contracts section. So in Article 1385, the rescission of the contract will create the obligation to return. Okay, what should be returned? So the things which were object of the contract, okay, together with any fruits that it earns. If it's money, then you return the price with interest. So if you are the injured party seeking rescission of the contract, then you should be able to return whatever was received from that contract because it triggers this obligation to restore or return under Article 1385. So if the thing, object of the contract, which is being rescinded, has already fallen into the hands of third parties or third persons who are in good faith, then rescission cannot be granted. Okay, instead, there will be indemnity for damages equivalent to the value of the thing that can no longer be returned. So under Article 1388, if a thing subject of the contract to be rescinded, okay, has been acquired in bad faith, so na-alienate siya in fraud of creditors, for example, then whoever is in bad faith, the party in bad faith, will be liable to indemnify the injured party for damages because of the alienation. If it becomes impossible to recover, okay, the thing that was already alienated. So in rescission, you're supposed to restore or restitute. But can payments be forfeited instead? Can the other party be entitled to keep or retain the payments received under the contract? So yes, it's possible through forfeiture of the payment by express agreement of the parties. So under Article 1226, the forfeiture of the payments received under a contract of sale uh, is recognized as a kind of penal clause. in accordance with Article 1226. And this kind of forfeiture clause agreement is covered by the freedom of contract. So this will be respected by the courts. And also in Article 1486 in the law on sales, whenever there is a sale of personal property in installments, this article recognizes that stipulation, okay, that installments or rents paid will not be returned by the lessor, okay, to the or the seller to the vendee or buyer, okay, will be recognized as valid as long as it is not unconscionable. Okay, and in Panghilinan versus Court of Appeals, the practice in stipulating in contracts to sell, okay, that there can be extrajudicial cancellation of the contract to sell, wherein the payments, the installment payments made, okay, by the prospective buyer will be retained by the prospective seller or the owner of the thing. This, okay, stipulation is recognized, okay, and more than 39 years na daw guys nag-recognize ni siya nga kind of stipulation in contracts to sell. So in the case of Gomez versus Court of Appeals, even in the absence of a forfeiture clause, okay, the payments made, okay, can be retained by the owner of the thing because it serves as reasonable compensation for the use of the thing. Okay, so kung ma-rescind ang contract, okay, and the buyer has been in possession of the property, enjoying the property, then those payments made prior to rescission of the contract can be retained in order to compensate the seller. Kaya kansisad kayo siya, no? Kung di siya i-allow to be compensated for the use of the property. So generally, rescission is judicial in nature. So in fact, stipulating on the remedy of rescission in reciprocal contracts such as a contract of sale is considered as superfluous because the law grants this remedy. Okay, there's no need to provide for it, stipulate for it in the contract of sale. Okay, even if silent ang contract ani, the injured party in the contract of sale will always have this remedy. Okay, but the exercise of this remedy is considered as judicial in nature. Why? Because there's this legal principle that no one should take the law into their own hands. So even if you're injured, okay, by the breach of the other party of the contract, okay, you should resort to the aid of the court to prevent lawlessness. So in availing of the remedy of rescission, okay, the injured party does not have absolute right to rescind the contract because, in fact, Article 1191, okay, grants the court the power to grant period to the obligor to perform the obligation na wa niya initially gibuhat. So the court has ruled that the injured party cannot resolve the obligation, cannot rescind the contract unilaterally, and rescission requires confirmation of the courts. But take note of Article 1592 on the specific remedy of rescission in the sale of immovables on installment. So under Article 1592, if there has been demand, whether judicial or by notarial act, demand for rescission has been made by the injured party, okay, that demand will preclude the court from granting the obligor a new term. So this is a limitation, okay, on Article 1191. So mas specific man ang 1592, so it prevails over Article 1191 wherein the court is granted the power to grant a new term. So kung ni-serve ka og demand, then the court can no longer grant a new term. Okay, but is extrajudicial rescission allowed at all? So yes, it is, provided that there is express agreement on extrajudicial rescission. So what is this express agreement? So the contract between the seller and the buyer, okay, must expressly state that in the event of default or non-performance of the obligation in the contract, okay, the injured party will be entitled to extrajudicially rescind the contract or extrajudicially cancel the contract, or without need of court intervention, the injured party can cancel or rescind. So this express agreements on extrajudicial rescission is recognized as valid stipulations because there is nothing in the law that prohibits the parties from entering into such an agreement. Okay, that's pronounced in the case of Froilan versus Pan Oriental Shipping Corporation. What happens if mo insist gyud ang injured party on extrajudicial rescission but there is no contractual stipulation granting this extrajudicial rescission? So the court can deny, okay, the exercise of rescission. I-deny nila ang rescission. Especially when the court finds that there are grounds which will justify the granting of the period, okay, to the obligor to perform the obligation. That was the ruling in Iringan versus Court of Appeals. So the seller cannot unilaterally and extrajudicially rescind the sale if there is no express stipulation authorizing it. So if there is unilateral rescission, it will not be judicially favored or allowed, especially when the breach is not substantial and fundamental to the fulfillment of the obligation. So that's the ruling in Spouses Benito versus Sakitan Ruiz. So rescission requires a positive act. Why? Because in Article 1191, remember that if there is substantial breach of a reciprocal contract, the injured party actually has two remedies, either rescission or specific performance. So if there is no positive act to show rescission, then it can be assumed na the injured party, okay, will avail of the other remedy of specific performance. So para ma-establish ang remedy that the injured party, okay, will actually avail of, then rescission must be done through a positive act. What is this positive act, guys? So, mga og notice of rescission. So, this positive act could be through notarial act or through judicial demand by filing a complaint for rescission in court. So this specific chapter is dedicated to synthesizing, okay, the various rulings of the court with respect to contracts of sale and contracts to sell. So you already know that a contract to sell is a genus. Okay, it's one of the contracts that is preparatory to a contract of sale. And this kind of contract is characterized by being subjected to suspensive conditions. Primarily, ang subjective condition, ang suspensive condition ani is full payment of the purchase price. So, being subject to a condition, there is application of the rules and doctrines pertaining to conditional contracts. Okay, but take note that there could be two kinds of contract to sell depending on what obligation is the suspensive condition attached to. So there is a kind of contract to sell wherein the obligation to transfer ownership and deliver possession of the subject matter is subjected to the suspensive condition of full payment of the purchase price. So ang obligation is an obligation to give. But there is also a contract to sell wherein the execution of the deed of absolute sale, okay, will be suspended, okay, pending payment of the purchase price. And the nature of the obligation to execute the deed of sale is an obligation to do. So, kung ang contract to sell is suspending an obligation to execute the deed of sale, then we can consider this kind of contract to sell as also a genus or covered, okay, by Article 1479 on mutual promises to buy and sell. So, mas duol-duol sila, guys, sa contract of sale. Kung ang suspensive condition pertains to the obligation to execute the deed of sale. So, in any case, basta contract to sell gani, okay, the remedy of rescission under Article 1191 and 1592 will have no application. So, there is no need to prove substantial breach, okay, in order to cancel the contract to sell. So, this relieves the injured party from filing a case in court to prove entitlement to the remedy of rescission. Because in contracts to sell, it can be cancelled through notarial act by notice of rescission. Okay, but in earlier cases, okay, there are instances when the Supreme Court, okay, applied the consequences of rescission or resolution, even though the contract is a contract to sell. So we have this case of J.M. Tuazon versus Javier, wherein although contract to sell siya, but the buyer was shown to have been paying monthly installments for 8 years and appeal sa iyang nabayaran ang interest. So despite the default of the buyer, okay, and considering that the buyer offered to pay all the arrears, the court granted, okay, additional period of 60 days, okay, from rendition of the judgment so that the buyer can make up for all the unpaid installments plus interest, even though the seller here already exercised rescission. Also in Legarda Hermanos versus Saldana, the buyer here purchased two parcels of land, and ang ilahang agreement was a contract to sell. So it was found by the court that the total payments made by the buyer could already purchase one of the two lots. So The court here decreed that the buyer has already paid for one lot. So, dili rescinded ang entire agreement. So, the buyer was allowed to keep one of the lots. But in this case, it was shown that there was no agreement on application of payments. Kung katong bang gipang bayaran ni buyer, i-apply sa lot 1 or sa lot 2. So the court uh, had ample reason to decide in that manner. So the court recognized substantial performance in the case of Legarda Hermanos versus Saldana. Okay, when you are canceling contracts to sell, okay, formal notice is mandatory. Because how would you start the legal process of rescission or cancellation of the contract to sell without giving this notice? So it's the minimum procedural rule for cancellation of contracts to sell. So in the case of University of the Philippines versus the Los Angeles, okay, the notice of rescission is required in order to make the rescission effective. So even under the Maceda law, there must be notice of cancellation through notarial act. And the notice of rescission, okay, must comply with the rule found in Article 1358, which requires that the form be in a public instrument. So remember Article 1358 that any act or contract which will result in extinguishment of real rights. Okay, this must appear in public instruments. Okay, so here are the summary of the rules pertaining to the differences between a contract of sale and a contract to sell. So at the time of perfection, okay, when the parties are uh, finalizing, okay, the terms and conditions of their agreement. So during the time of perfection, if the parties do not have any agreement to reserve title and the title passes to the buyer upon delivery, whether actual or constructive, then that is a contract of sale. But if there are stipulations on reservation of ownership, stipulations on execution of deed of sale, and in the subsequent slide, if there is stipulation on what happens when there is non-payment of the full price, then those stipulations will make the contract a contract to sell. So what is this stipulation on reservation of ownership clause? So the reservation of ownership is made conditional on the full payment. The reservation of ownership will is contingent on full payment of the purchase price. So if this is a stipulation in the contract, then you always consider it as a contract to sell. So despite delivery of the subject matter, okay, to the prospective buyer in the contract to sell, there will be no transfer of title. So kung na reservation of ownership, guys, it should be coupled with a stipulation on the right to extrajudicially rescind or cancel the contract in case of default or non-payment. So if there is also a stipulation that the prospective seller will execute the deed of absolute sale upon full payment or completion of payment of the purchase price, then that makes the agreement a contract to sell because equivalent ni siya to reservation of title. So, of course, stipulation on the payment of the price in a contract to sell, it is made a suspensive condition to transferring title or to execution of the deed of sale. Unlike in a contract of sale, wherein the parties will merely agree on the manner of the payment of the price. So when can the title in a contract of sale, okay, be restored or revested to the seller? So that can happen if there is substantial breach and the seller will exercise the remedy of rescission. So the seller must first rescind the contract before the title can be revested. So during consummation stage, we need to know what are the legal effects when there is delivery made under the contract. So in a contract of sale, you all know this, I hope, by heart, that delivery of the thing will transfer title. Okay, title to the property passes to the buyer. But in a contract to sell, since there is reservation of ownership, the title will not pass to the buyer until full payment of the purchase price. We also need to know what is the legal effect if there is already full payment of the price. So, of course, title here in a contract of sale has already passed to the buyer, and this will consummate, okay? It will complete the contract. In a contract to sell, the full payment of the price, okay, will constitute as a happening of the suspensive condition, and it will convert their agreement into an executory contract of sale. So if there is an agreement like this in a contract to sell, then it's possible that the prior delivery of the property would ipso jure, okay, transfer ownership to the buyer. But if there is no delivery yet of the subject matter, then the buyer here can already demand specific performance for delivery of the thing, subject matter of the contract to sell. Okay, as to the legal effect of non-payment of the price in a contract of sale, the non-payment, okay, will be considered as a substantial breach and allow the seller to rescind the sale. But in a contract to sell, since there is reservation of ownership to the prospective seller and the reservation is subject to the happening of the suspensive condition of full payment, then we do not consider it as a breach, but we consider it as non-happening of the suspensive condition. So this prevents, okay, the prospective seller or the owner of the thing. This prevents his obligation from arising. So di na siya obligated to transfer title or ownership because the condition did not happen. Okay, so what are the remedies when the condition on payment of the price is not fulfilled? So in a contract of sale, if there has been delivery already, then na-transfer na ang ownership to the buyer. So the seller cannot just recover ownership until and unless the contract is resolved or rescinded, okay, either by court action or through extrajudicial rescission, okay, if it is expressly included in the contract. So the applicable rules for rescission, you'll find it in Article 1191 or Article 1592. Okay, but if there is a suspensive condition involved, you should also consider Article 1545. Okay, this article will be further discussed in the next chapter on conditions and warranties. But in Article 1545, if a condition has not been fulfilled, Then it allows the seller to choose either between rescission or waiving the condition. In a contract to sell, remember that there is reservation of ownership, okay, until full payment. And if that full payment does not happen, then the suspensive condition is not fulfilled. So that will extinguish, okay, the contract, and there is no action necessary, okay, other than to recover possession of the property in case mo refuse si buyer to peacefully turn over or vacate the property. So ang i-file ani nga kaso guys, recovery or reconveyance, okay, not rescission. So the applicable rules are found in Articles 1184 and 1545. So let's also find out what's the difference when the contract is a conditional contract of sale as compared to a contract to sell. So both are subjected to conditions, correct? So, but in a conditional contract of sale, the non-happening of the condition, okay, can be waived by the obligee. And the obligee can choose instead to demand specific performance. But in a contract to sell, again, it results in extinguishment of the contract because the suspensive condition did not materialize. So there is no need for rescission or specific performance at all. In conditional contracts of sale, the basis for rescission will be substantial breach in accordance with Article 1191. But in contracts to sell, there's no application of the rules on substantial breach. You just prove that the suspensive condition did not happen. Another distinction is that in a conditional contract of sale, rescission can be pursued together with forfeiture of the amounts paid, okay, as long as the forfeiture has been expressly agreed upon by the parties. But in contracts to sell, okay, there must be return of the amounts paid, and there would be no basis upon which to retain them since there was no breach. But remember, in contracts to sell, automatically, not automatically, but it's common to have a stipulation that there will be forfeiture of the payments made. This has been the long-standing practice, ma-forfeit ang payments. But remember the Maseda law. When there is sale on installment of residential real estate and condominiums, in both contracts of sale and contracts to sell, okay, the requirements of the Maseda law must be complied with. So what are these requirements? There must be the grace period na ay cash surrender value na i-return si seller, and the prescribed notarial rescission or cancellation, okay, must be done always by the prospective seller or the seller, whether the contract is already an absolute sale or a contract to sell. Okay, so that concludes our discussion on chapter 11. I'll upload another lecture video on chapter 12.